You ever come home from a trip so tired you're barely conscious, just wanting to dump your bag and crash on the couch? Yeah, that was me. 3 days away on business, just dragging myself through the door. Suitcase still in the hall when I glanced out my front window and just about dropped the soda I'd pulled from the fridge. My house, the same gray modern masterpiece I'd fussed over for years, had somehow turned into a glowing nuclear pink disaster. Not a blush, not even a hip rose gold. No, this was full-on flamingo, the kind of color you'd expect to see on a Barbie Jeep, and it sparkled in the sun like someone detonated a glitter bomb. For 10 long seconds, I seriously questioned if I'd come to the wrong address, right up until I saw my name still sitting on the mailbox. I staggered outside, jaw hanging, feeling like I'd stepped into a prank show, except standing smack in the middle of my yard was Karen from the HOA mugging for her phone like she'd just finished repainting the Sistine Chapel. She shot me a smug little wave, paintbrush still in hand, and chirped, "You're welcome." My brain was buffering, you know what I mean? Like I had to re-download reality just to believe it. But it was real, she'd done it. Karen had painted the entire front of my house, not my mailbox, not a garden gnome, the entire front. I felt my heartbeat pounding in my ears as I tried to keep my voice even Olympic-level self-control. Believe me. "Karen, what the hell is this?" I remember snapping, trying not to lose it right there on the lawn. She just pulled down her sunglasses and said, "Just a little beautification. The old color was so depressing. This is much more community-friendly." And then I saw it, the worst part. She hadn't just painted the siding, oh no. The color riot stretched right over the side of the house and smothered the garden wall, the one mural my wife had painted before she passed away. Weeks of her life poured into that tree of open books, now erased under a pink and beige nightmare. That wall was memory and healing now, just a casualty of Karen's taste. It was like watching someone burn a photo album. I don't remember what I said next, but it definitely wasn't fit for kids' ears. Karen just rolled her eyes and breezed off, muttering something about how I was ungrateful and how she'd saved me thousands in design fees. I just stood there, soda still in hand, fuming as neighbors started trickling out, some staring, some awkwardly waving, a few stifling laughs. Thing is, in HOA land, people are scared to speak up. Karen had been queen bee of our aesthetic committee for years, dishing out warnings like Halloween candy fines for colored curtains, chimes that rang too loud, you name it. But this was a new level of insane. That night I couldn't sleep. Just sat there scrolling through old photos of the mural on my phone, remembering how my wife had painted it for her mom, each book a memory, a favorite story. Kids used to sit by that wall and read. Even the local paper did a write-up. Now it was just pink, sloppy beige strokes, like someone painted it with oven mitts on. It wasn't just ugly, it was vandalism with glitter. By sunrise, I was mad in a whole new way. So I did what any furious, slightly nerdy homeowner would do. I dug up every HOA bylaw, every file, every scrap of policy I could find. Turns out nowhere did it say the HOA or its president could alter someone's property without written consent. I'd never signed anything, never even got a warning letter. Just pink walls and glitter in the sun. So I started documenting photos from every angle. Screenshots of the mural before neighbors' doorbell footage of Karen directing a painting crew up my walk while I was gone. Even found the painting crew. At first they clammed up, probably afraid of getting sued. But when I showed them the before and after, one guy finally said, "Oh, she told us you were in legal trouble and needed it done before the city stepped in." That was the clincher. Karen lied, paid for the job with the HOA's community card, signed it herself, and called it an emergency aesthetic correction. Fraud, trespassing, destruction of property. It was all right there, plain as day. Later that day, I marched into the HOA office. The receptionist's smile faded real quick when she saw my face. I calmly asked to see the board. Phil, the vice chair, came out looking confused. Apparently, even he didn't know Karen planned to paint my house. I handed him a flash drive. "I've got more receipts than CVS," I told him. Watching his face morph from confusion to horror as he clicked through the mural photos, I'll never forget it. When he realized what Karen had done, especially to my wife's art, he just sat there for a minute silent. Then he said there'd be a board meeting in 3 days, Karen would be there, and I should bring a lawyer. Oh, I promised I would. For the next 3 days, time crawled. Neighbors stared every time they walked by my house, some sympathetic, others just glad it wasn't them. But something changed. 2 doors down, old Mrs. Langford, who usually only spoke to cats, shuffled over with a tin of cookies. "I'm sorry about your wife's wall. It was beautiful. That woman had no right," she said, then shuffled away. After that, the floodgates opened. Neighbors started sharing their own Karen stories, fines for plastic flamingos, threats over birdhouses, complaints about flowers that were too bright. Karen hadn't just wronged me, she'd tormented half the street. It was like watching a dam crack. By the morning of the meeting, I'd gone full lawyer mode: documents, printed evidence, laminated photos lined up like it was Exhibit A, B, and C. When I walked in, the board tried to act casual. Karen, of course, breezed in late in a pink blazer and sunglasses indoors like she was hiding from the fallout. Phil called the meeting to order and opened with the unauthorized alteration issue. Karen leapt up, giving some rambling TED talk about community spirit and uplifting the neighborhood. She even called my wife's mural childish. I nearly laughed out loud, but I just let the evidence speak. I presented everything: the photos, contractor statements, receipts, footage of Karen lying to the painters, her forged expense reports. The room went dead quiet. One board member asked, "Did you have written permission?" Karen squirmed, then muttered, "I didn't think I needed it. The community comes first." That's when Phil lowered the boom. No clause gave Karen or anyone else the right to alter private property, let alone destroy art misuse funds or falsify invoices. The board ruled she was personally liable for all restoration, mural included, and had to repay over $50,000 to the HOA for the whole stunt. Karen shrieked about being betrayed, but nobody said a word. The silence was deafening. For the first time, she realized she was alone, no title, no support, just her and the mess she'd made. When the meeting ended, Karen stormed out, and board members actually thanked me for standing up. The mural wasn't back. My house still looked like a circus tent, but something in the air felt lighter, like we'd taken back a little control. A few days later, my house was still pink, but the mood had shifted. Neighbors I barely knew dropped off notes, cookies, even a printed photo of the old mural taped to my fence. "Bring it back." A local artist, Leah, who'd helped my wife with the original mural, offered to lead a restoration team. She suggested adding a new section to symbolize resilience, a golden outlined pink leaf. That hit me hard. Maybe this wasn't just about fixing the past, but building something better. The weekend of the restoration felt like a block party. Neighbors brought snacks, coffee power washers, even chalk for the kids to draw their own mini murals. As we peeled off the pink and beige, old fragments of the mural peeked through pages, branches, little ghosts of memory that hadn't quite faded away. By the last afternoon, Leah painted the new golden pink leaf, and when we flipped on the lights at dusk, more than 40 people gathered in my yard, just soaking it in, smiling, crying, finally together for the right reasons. But of course, Karen couldn't let it go. She started posting on the HOA message board under fake names, taping glittery pink flyers to mailboxes at night, whining that I'd approved the changes and was just looking for attention. Nobody bought it. Neighbors tore down her flyers and replaced them with "Respect art, not egos." Signs, big photos of the mural, chalk drawings on sidewalks. Karen had lost the room. All her control had just turned into noise. The mural became a local legend. A blogger did a story. The City Arts Council wanted to include it on their tour. Meanwhile, the HOA did a deeper dive into Karen's expenses and found years of shady bookkeeping, fake invoices, a vendor who turned out to be her cousin. The board sued her for embezzlement. People started speaking up about years of petty bullying, and for the first time in memory, real change started happening. We held an open community election. Janine, a neighbor Karen once fined for unauthorized petunias, won a seat by a landslide. Her first act: no changes to any private property without double-confirmed owner consent, period. Karen, meanwhile, shrank into the background. A shut-in roses wilting her Queen of Clean Yard sign quietly vanished. She even tried to sue me for emotional distress over the new mural leaf, which my lawyer just laughed out of the room. In court, the judge sided with me, tacking on another fine and a note: "Your wife's work was beautiful. I'm glad you fought for it." That line stuck with me. Because in the end, it wasn't about revenge. It was about respect, about not letting one person's ego erase what mattered. The best part: the mural kept growing. The new board let neighbors add their favorite book titles to the tree. Soon the wall became a living story of the whole community. Kids stopped by after school to read, families used it for photos. Even a couple got married in front of it. The fear was gone, replaced by joy and pride. And Karen, every single day, had to look at what she tried to destroy, transformed into something unforgettable, irreplaceable, and so much bigger than her. So yeah, if you ask me what justice looks like, it's a wall that everyone said would never come back, covered in gold and pink laughter and memory. And it's knowing that sometimes when someone tries to paint over your story, what comes next is brighter, bolder, and more lasting than they ever imagined. That's my victory. What do you think? Was I right to fight back? Or should I have just let it go? I want to hear what you'd do. Drop your thoughts below.